John Parker was an ordinary man living an ordinary life. He worked as a clerk in a small office, and his days followed a predictable routine. Wake up, go to work, come home, and sleep. There was nothing exciting about his life, and he liked it that way. But all of that was about to change. One chilly afternoon, John was at his desk when he received a letter. It was not just any letter, it was an official-looking envelope with a wax seal. Curious, John opened it and read the contents. His eyes widened with disbelief. The letter was from a lawyer named Mr. Thompson, informing him that his grandfather, whom he barely knew, had passed away. John had heard little about his grandfather. All he knew was that the old man had lived far away and had been quite wealthy. The letter continued, "You are the sole heir to your grandfather's estate." John's heart raced as he read on. The inheritance included a large sum of money, valuable properties, and most surprising of all, 2 alien concubines. John could not believe his eyes. Alien concubines? He reread the letter to make sure he had not misread it. But the words were clear. He was to travel to his grandfather's estate to claim his inheritance. A few days later, John arrived at the estate. It was a grand mansion on the outskirts of town. The mansion was huge, with tall columns and intricate designs on the walls. John felt a mix of excitement and nervousness as he walked through the doors. Inside, the mansion was even more impressive. Chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and the floors were covered with luxurious carpets. Mr. Thompson, the lawyer, greeted John. "Welcome, Mr. Parker. I'm glad you could make it." The lawyer led John to a large sitting room where 2 beautiful alien women were waiting. They looked different from anything John had ever seen. Their skin was a shimmering shade of blue, and their eyes sparkled with an unusual glow. They were dressed in elegant, flowing clothes that seemed to glow with an otherworldly light. John stared at them, speechless. The aliens seemed calm and serene, though there was a hint of curiosity in their eyes. Mr. Thompson introduced them. "These are Sarah and Emma, your grandfather's concubines. They will be part of your inheritance." John managed to find his voice. "Concubines? But why? And what do I do with them?" Mr. Thompson explained. "Your grandfather had a close relationship with these 2. They were a part of his life and have been well cared for. It is your choice what to do next. They are here to serve you as they served him." John nodded, trying to process the information. Sarah and Emma looked at him with polite smiles, but John could see that they were waiting for his next move. He felt overwhelmed by the sudden change in his life. From a simple office worker to the owner of a grand estate and 2 alien concubines. It was all too much to take in at once. John spent the next few days exploring the mansion and getting to know Sarah and Emma. They were polite and respectful, but there was a clear cultural gap between them. John had to learn quickly how to interact with them and what they needed. He was determined to make the best of this strange situation. As he walked through the vast halls of the mansion, John realized that his life had changed forever. He was no longer an ordinary man living an ordinary life. He had inherited not just wealth but also a slice of the extraordinary. And as he glanced at Sarah and Emma, he knew that his adventure had just begun. John Parker woke up early the next morning, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. Today was the day he would officially meet Sarah and Emma, the alien concubines who were part of his unexpected inheritance. He had seen them briefly the day before, but this was the first time he would spend more time with them. After a quick breakfast, John walked to the sitting room where Sarah and Emma were waiting. They were dressed in elegant clothes that seemed to shimmer in the morning light. Sarah wore a flowing gown with delicate patterns that changed color as she moved. Emma's outfit was equally striking, with a soft glow that made her look ethereal. Sarah and Emma greeted John with warm smiles. "Good morning, Mr. Parker," Sarah said in a voice that was both melodious and calming. Emma nodded in agreement, her eyes twinkling with curiosity. John cleared his throat and tried to sound confident. "Good morning. I hope you're both settling in well." Sarah's smile widened. "Yes, thank you. We are very comfortable here. We appreciate your hospitality." John was struck by how polite and graceful they were. He had expected them to be more like characters from a sci-fi movie, but they seemed genuinely kind and attentive. He wondered about their lives before coming here, and what it must be like for them to be part of his inheritance. "Could you tell me more about your daily routine?" John asked, trying to break the ice. "I want to make sure I respect your customs." Emma's eyes sparkled as she spoke. "We are used to a structured daily schedule. We usually begin our day with meditation and then perform various duties around the estate. We are also skilled in many areas, from cooking to managing household tasks. John was impressed. That sounds like a lot of responsibility. I'm sure my grandfather was very fond of you both. Sarah nodded. We served him with dedication. We are here to assist you in any way you need. John felt a bit more at ease. He realized that Sarah and Emma were not just part of his inheritance. They were people with their own skills and experiences. He decided to spend the day with them, learning more about their lives and getting to know them better. As the day went on, John found himself enjoying their company. They showed him around the estate, explaining the different areas and how they were used. They also shared stories about their home planet and their previous experiences. John was fascinated by their tales of alien cultures and advanced technology. At lunchtime, Sarah and Emma prepared a meal that was both delicious and unfamiliar. The food had exotic flavors and textures that John had never tasted before. He marveled at how skilled they were in the kitchen and how they made the meal feel special. Throughout the day, John observed how Sarah and Emma interacted with each other. They seemed to have a deep bond, supporting and understanding each other in ways that were both touching and impressive. John couldn't help but feel a bit of admiration for them. As evening approached, John and the concubines sat down for a quiet dinner. The conversation flowed easily, and John found himself laughing at their stories and anecdotes. For the first time since inheriting the estate, he felt a sense of normalcy and connection. By the end of the day, John realized that his initial concerns and fears were slowly fading away. Sarah and Emma were not just alien concubines, they were individuals with their own personalities and stories. John began to see them as more than just part of his inheritance. They were becoming friends and companions in this strange new chapter of his life. As he went to bed that night, John felt a strange mix of anticipation and contentment. He knew that the road ahead would be filled with challenges and discoveries, but he was ready to face them with Sarah and Emma by his side. John Parker had settled into his new life with Sarah and Emma, but adjusting to their presence was proving to be more complicated than he had imagined. Every day brought new surprises and challenges as he tried to blend his ordinary human life with their extraordinary alien customs. One morning, John decided to take Sarah and Emma out for a walk in the nearby park. He thought it would be a good opportunity for them to relax and get used to the surroundings. Sarah and Emma were excited about the outing, though they were also curious about the park's environment. As they strolled through the park, Sarah noticed the flowers and trees with interest. "These plants are so different from those on our planet," she said, touching a vibrant flower. "They have such bright colors and unique scents." John smiled. "Yes, Earth has a lot of diverse and beautiful nature. I'm glad you're enjoying it." Emma, meanwhile, was fascinated by the people jogging and playing sports. "Your world seems very active," she observed. "On our planet, we have different forms of exercise, but nothing quite like this." John chuckled. "It's a common pastime here. People like to stay fit and have fun." As they continued their walk, John realized how much he still had to learn about Sarah and Emma's culture. He decided it was time for a more structured approach to understanding their customs. Later that week, John organized a small cultural exchange event in the mansion. He asked Sarah and Emma to share more about their planet and traditions, and in return, he wanted to introduce them to some human activities. Sarah and Emma were excited about the idea. They prepared a traditional meal from their planet and set up a small display of their cultural artifacts. The food was exotic, with flavors that were both delightful and unfamiliar to John. As they ate, Sarah and Emma explained the significance of each dish and its role in their customs. In turn, John introduced them to some of his favorite activities. He showed them how to play a popular board game and explained the rules. At first, Sarah and Emma found the game confusing, but with John's patience and guidance, they began to enjoy it. The laughter and playful competition made the evening enjoyable for everyone. One day, Emma approached John with a request. "We would like to learn more about your traditions, especially your holidays and celebrations. It would help us understand your world better." John agreed enthusiastically. He planned a small celebration of a traditional Earth holiday and invited Sarah and Emma to participate. They decorated the mansion with festive items and prepared a special dinner. Sarah and Emma were fascinated by the holiday traditions. They admired the decorations and were eager to learn the customs associated with the celebration. John took the time to explain the history and meaning behind each tradition, making sure they understood and felt included. As the days went by, John and the concubines began to bridge the gap between their worlds. They learned to appreciate each other's differences and found joy in their shared experiences. The cultural exchange helped them build a stronger bond and made their interactions more meaningful. John was pleased with the progress they had made. He noticed that Sarah and Emma were becoming more comfortable and confident in their new environment. They were adapting to human life while still maintaining their unique identities. The process was not without its challenges. There were moments of misunderstanding and frustration, but John and the concubines worked through them with patience and empathy. They were learning to respect each other's backgrounds and find common ground. As John looked around at the growing harmony in the mansion, he felt a sense of accomplishment. Bridging their worlds had been a journey of discovery and adaptation, but it was worth it. Sarah and Emma were no longer just part of his inheritance, they were becoming an integral part of his life. The adventure was far from over, but John knew that with each passing day, they were building a new future together, one that blended the best of both worlds. John Parker was enjoying a peaceful evening at the mansion with Sarah and Emma. The past few weeks had been a whirlwind of adjustment and discovery, but things were finally settling into a comfortable routine. They were sitting in the grand living room, chatting and laughing as they enjoyed a quiet dinner together. Suddenly, the calm was shattered by a loud, urgent knock on the door. John looked at Sarah and Emma, their expressions turning from relaxed to alert. They exchanged worried glances. John went to answer the door, his heart pounding with a mix of curiosity and concern. Standing on the doorstep was a stranger dressed in dark, formal attire. His eyes were hidden behind dark glasses, and he carried a small, metallic briefcase. "Are you Mr. John Parker?" the stranger asked, his voice cold and authoritative. "Yes, that's me. Can I help you?" John replied, feeling uneasy. The stranger handed John a letter, which was sealed with a mysterious emblem. "This is for you. It's urgent." John took the letter and watched as the stranger turned and walked away quickly. Puzzled, John returned to the living room and opened the letter. As he read, his face went pale. The letter was from an unknown group claiming to be a rival faction seeking revenge for a past wrong. They demanded that John hand over the alien concubines or face dire consequences. John's hands shook as he finished reading. "This letter says there's a group that wants Sarah and Emma. They claim they have a grudge against my grandfather and want to take them away." Sarah's eyes widened in alarm. "This is serious. If they have a grudge against your grandfather, they might come after us." Emma's expression was tense. "We need to act quickly. They could be dangerous." John nodded, trying to stay calm. "We need to find out more about this group and protect ourselves." The three of them began investigating the threat. They searched through the mansion's security footage and discovered that the stranger had not acted alone. There were several people who had been watching the mansion for days. With the help of Sarah and Emma's alien technology, they managed to track the group's movements. It became clear that the rivals were planning a coordinated attack to capture Sarah and Emma. The group had advanced equipment and seemed to be well prepared. John felt a surge of determination. "We can't just wait for them to come to us. We need to prepare and defend the mansion." Sarah and Emma agreed. They used their alien skills to enhance the mansion's security systems, setting up advanced defenses and creating a plan for their protection. John made sure to contact local authorities and keep them informed about the situation. As night fell, tension filled the mansion. John, Sarah, and Emma stayed alert, waiting for any sign of the attackers. They had set up a strategy to guard the entrances and keep watch over the estate. The hours passed slowly, and just as they began to feel a bit of hope, they heard the sound of vehicles approaching. The rival group had arrived. John's heart raced as he prepared for the confrontation. Sarah and Emma moved swiftly, activating the security measures they had set up. The mansion's defenses sprang to life, creating a barrier against the intruders. John joined them in the defense, using the knowledge he had gained from Sarah and Emma to fight off the attackers. The night was filled with intense moments as they faced off against the rival group. The attackers were determined, but John and the concubines were ready. With a combination of human ingenuity and alien technology, they managed to repel the attackers and protect the mansion. As dawn approached, the rival group retreated, leaving behind signs of their failed attempt. John, Sarah, and Emma were exhausted but relieved. They had successfully defended themselves against the threat. John looked at Sarah and Emma, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "We did it. Thank you for everything," Sarah smiled. "We're safe for now, but we need to stay vigilant." Emma nodded. "We'll face any challenges together." The threat was gone, but John knew that their journey was far from over. They had faced danger and come out stronger, and they were ready to continue their adventure no matter what lay ahead. After the intense night of defending the mansion from the rival group, John, Parker, Sarah, and Emma were ready for a fresh start. The attack had shown them how dangerous the world could be, but it had also brought them closer together. With the threat behind them, they could focus on building a new life. The next morning, the sun rose over the mansion, casting a warm glow over the estate. John, Sarah, and Emma gathered in the kitchen for breakfast. They were all tired but determined to move forward. John looked at Sarah and Emma with a sense of renewed purpose. "I think it's time we start thinking about our future. We've faced a lot together, and I want us to make the most of this new beginning." Sarah nodded, her blue eyes reflecting a mix of hope and resolve. "We agree. It's important for us to find a balance between our lives here and our own goals." Emma, who had been quiet, spoke up. "We should also explore more of Earth and learn about its cultures. It will help us feel more at home." John smiled. "That's a great idea. We can plan some trips and try to experience everything this world has to offer." Over the following weeks, John, Sarah, and Emma began to create their new life together. They traveled to different cities, explored local attractions, and immersed themselves in Earth's diverse cultures. Each new experience brought them joy and strengthened their bond. One of their trips took them to a bustling city known for its vibrant arts scene. John, Sarah, and Emma spent the day visiting museums, attending a theater performance, and trying out different cuisines. Sarah and Emma were fascinated by the variety of artistic expressions and cultural practices they encountered. John enjoyed seeing their reactions. "I'm glad you're finding this interesting. It's amazing to see how much variety there is in human culture," Sarah smiled. "It's wonderful to experience this world firsthand. There's so much to learn and appreciate," Emma agreed. "It's also nice to see how people from different backgrounds come together and share their traditions." As they continued their travels, John noticed how much Sarah and Emma had adapted to their new environment. They were becoming more confident and comfortable in their new lives, and their experiences on Earth were enriching their perspectives. Back at the mansion, John and the concubines worked on making the house feel like home. They decorated the rooms with a mix of human and alien styles, creating a unique and comfortable living space. They also started hosting gatherings with friends and neighbors, introducing them to their extraordinary new companions. John's social circle expanded as he introduced Sarah and Emma to more people. The mansion became a popular spot for social events, and John enjoyed seeing how well Sarah and Emma interacted with everyone. Their presence added a touch of elegance and intrigue to every gathering. Life seemed to settle into a pleasant rhythm. John continued his work while Sarah and Emma pursued their interests and passions. They took up new hobbies, such as learning to cook traditional Earth dishes and mastering human arts and crafts.